There are 8,800 developers and builders registered with CREDAI, that's Confederation of Real Estate Developers in India. I knew the number of developers across India was big, yet 8,800 took me by surprise. And what's more, this doesn't capture all developers. There could be an equal number, at least half of those who are not registered with any industry body like CREDAI. So in such a vast sea of companies, how do you choose who to trust with the biggest saving chunk of your life to buy a property? Inevitably, it comes to one thing, the reputation, the brand of the developer. Do you know of him? Have you heard of the company? Who are they? All of that gets captured in the brand. Welcome everyone to the debate on power of brands in real estate. Today with my panelists, I'll get to the bottom of what makes a brand in realty. What works, what does not. With me on the show today, Jack Bastian Nazareth, Chief Executive Officer, Purvankara Projects. Jack, thanks for being with us here on the show today. Kalpesh Mehta, Partner, Tribeca Real Estate and Trump Organization, India Advisor. In the Delhi studio, Nayan Raheja, Executive Director, Raheja Developers. Sameer Jasuja, Founder and CEO of Prop Equity. We'll also be joined in a short while by Sonal Dabral, Chairman and Chief Creative Officer, DDB Mudra Group. Gentlemen, thanks very much. It's a very interesting topic, and I'm sure all of us have a lot to speak of. But Kalpesh, I'm going to start with you. You know, the industry has been attached with terms like unorganized, family-led, unprofessional. This is changing, that's for sure. But is it changing too slowly?
Yes and no. Industry changes at the pace that it does. Some might find it slow, and some might find it just okay enough. Personally, for people in the business, I know that people are making very heavy investments of their time and capital to change the way they do business. And one of the ways that everyone is changing the way they do business is investing heavily in the creation of brands. And I think branding, as today's topic goes, is an extremely important concept for this sector, especially at this point of time in the life cycle of the Indian real estate sector. As you've gone from an extremely unorganized to a very, very organized sector, the demand's exploded, supply's exploded. It's no longer people in their 40s and 50s buying real estate 2 to 3 kilometers of where they live. People in their 20s and 30s are buying real estate. They're starting their research on the internet. They're talking to their friends. They're looking at websites. They're looking at brochures. They're buying houses in cities other than the cities they live in. They're buying second homes. And at a time like this, I think investment in brands is extremely, extremely important for most players, and that's what you see happening.
But Jack, what's your opinion? Is it still a small percentage of developers such as you and of course the top 20 who have become conscious hugely of brand building in various ways? Or is it a large percentage?
No, I think for a real estate brand, it's simply a stamp of quality and trust. For those who haven't tread that path as of now, as far as brand building is concerned, it's just about tomorrow that they will start. Let's get back into brand positioning of real estate. I think today customers look for real estate brand, and for what Kalpesh just mentioned, I think a lot has evolved over a period of time. But having said this, the brand positioning is going to be playing a bigger role in terms of establishing product delivery, which in turn will bring about a quality and trust factor amongst all people who buy. So therefore, brand has got a very important role to play, and I firmly believe that real estate companies, when they talk about brand, we should be very clear of promising what we can deliver, and we should not be promising what we cannot deliver because of that real fact that we still are evolving from being an unorganized sector to a larger degree now in an organized scale.
Okay, so Nayan, what I can hear from Jack is that really it's not the bucks that you spend, it's the delivery, it's the trust that you can generate amongst your customer which will drive your brand. Yet you have to contend with top dollars, with probably a very North India developer such as you competing with big budgets of large developers. So would you think that just trust, quality is enough?
I think for sure, delivery is the most important thing, for any developer, and it takes time to build that trust. It takes years and years and decades of performance to actually build that kind of trust amongst people. Now, when you talk about the real estate sector becoming organized, I think it has been evolving over time, and a lot of family-led businesses have introduced a lot of kind of foreign players, or they're getting CEOs from all over the world. They're introducing best practices. But how do you get down to the bottom of the chain? We still have to work with thousands of labor. We have to work with people down the line, and that's where the professionalism actually needs to come in, because at the end of the day, we are in the business of real estate. We are in the business of creating buildings, and that is only going to come when you have that professionalism going down to the bottommost layer. And that's how brands are built, when you have performance for years and years, and you see nowadays big developers actually, even they are kind of delaying on projects, or there are challenges that they're facing. But that's, again, primarily due to the fact that you have people down the line who are not being able to perform.
So how do you communicate that to the customer? Because at the end of it, you could start out with a very well-intentioned plan of delivering in time, but that's not the way it pans out, Sameer. The project life is so long in real estate, and you got to manage a brand through its entire project life, isn't it? And that's where the biggest challenge comes. It's not about spending big bucks, but about being able to deliver and create trust.
Yeah, so first of all, you're absolutely right, and everybody on the panel is absolutely right that it's all about delivery and trust through delivery. I think it's very unfortunate that real estate is one trade where really one doesn't look at quality at all. If you manage to just get your home on time, you are kind of fine.
That's an interesting point.
So that's the first point that I'd like to make, because there is no legal recourse that people have. Unfortunately, the developer community also, if you look at it from the past, was not a very professional community. They are getting professionalized right now. And like everybody else is also saying, they're trying to get professional CEOs in their companies and trying to professionalize the trade. But I would say that today even developers have really not understood the power of brands. It has just started to happen now, where you're seeing that a branded developer, and definition of branded over here according to me is the belief that the consumer has that he will deliver on time and he will get his flat, and he will not have to go to court to be able to get a delivery.
So that's the single biggest brand parameter
is the
in real
first
estate.
biggest challenge that developers have to overcome to become the so-called brands. And consumers today are even happy with that. Forget quality of construction and forget everything else, because across the board, you don't see that. So if there are developers now coming in, giving that delivery, giving that the quality and executing on time, and most importantly, I would say, fulfilling their obligations with respect to the legal contract that they signed. So if they've delayed by 12 months, they should be willing to pay that penalty, which is marginal compared to what the consumer has paid them.
And not worth losing a brand on.
Absolutely.
So here is some very interesting data from Prop Equity. Let's take a look at a couple of cities. What can getting the brand right, delivering on your brand promise, get to you as a developer from the customer? You go to Whitefield, Bangalore. Market shows a jump of 37%. That's the overall market in Whitefield. And we're talking about 2009 onwards to the first quarter of 2012. Now you look at branded projects and homes, and what have they risen by? 46%. That's the differential, 9% in a Bangalore market. Come up north and you will realize how much more brand conscious people get. Navi Mumbai first. Overall appreciation in this market has been 23% over the last 2 years and 1 quarter. But if you take branded projects, they've risen 39%. Now that's a differential of 16% over 2 years, or almost, let's even take 2.5 years. In the National Capital Region, Noida market, 42% rise in prices of branded projects and 28% in non-branded projects. This differential between overall and branded market is 21%. Gurgaon now, overall appreciation 70%, and branded housing projects have risen by 91%. So that differential of 20% is the Gurgaon market that we are talking of.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.